Neck-throughs, guitars, they're like a guy that won't have a beer with you.
I want to hear what's pushing the notes.
Freddie King and B.B. King, Albert King, and let's not forget Burger King.
I don't want to blow my knuckle out.
Stainless steel is the work of the devil.
These go to 11.
From the East Amplification Tone Labs in Baltimore, Maryland, it's the Amps and Axes Show with your hosts, Jeff the Godfather of Low Wattage Amps Bober and Mick Marcelino.
Well, good day to you, Mr. Bober.
Good day to you, Mr. Marcelino.
Oh, yes. Yes,
Yeah.
it is lovely.
It is. It is. It's, winter's been pretty kind to us so far.
Yeah, not too bad. And I want to let everybody know you can thank me because I bought a snowblower and I haven't had to turn it on. So there you go.
Thank you very
Everybody,
much.
you're welcome.
Thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you.
I think you get one season and that's it. So, rest up for next year because I'm sure our shoulders are going to be killing us.
Probably. Well,
everybody else is not mine.
Winter is right. You got a snowblower. Winter is not over yet, and
that's true.
We did have a couple of days of pretty darn cold, but I'm thinking we need one good one before the winter's over. Otherwise, the spring and summer are going to be 100 times over. Run with bugs.
Yeah, we'll have mosquitoes that can carry you away.
Totally.
Anyway, we got to thank our listeners, man.
Yeah, thanks for bringing it.
You guys have been spreading the word, sharing the love, and people have been tuning in, and that's what we need to propel this to the next level, which we have all kinds of plans for cool stuff that we can bring to you guys, yes, for free. And, we really do appreciate you guys, definitely getting out there and moving it around for us because, honestly, that's all we have. I could take an ad out in the paper, but, it ain't going to make a difference when it's some guy in Germany,
That's true. True.
Unless he's subscribing to some local paper here in Baltimore, which I doubt. It's not going to work. And when you do, if you go to check out the show or if you want to find out any news about the show, go to ampsandaxescast.com.
Yep.
And I've changed it up a little bit. It's got a nice flow now to it, and, things are a little bit easier to navigate. And our social media is there. You can click on that, go out there, like us, love us, spread the word. And, of course, go to iTunes. You got to give us how many stars, Jeff?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5. That's right.
All 5.
And definitely give us the reviews. And you guys have been, and thank you for that because it's all, it's all helps.
Absolutely. It's all good. Thank you very much.
We work, kind of with these other guys that are doing the same thing that we're doing it on all the other coasts and planets and places like that. And, we're just trying to build this really cool kind of network, and that's why we're here and why we do this. And plus we get to talk to people we want to talk to and we share it with you guys.
Right. We learn and hopefully you learn. So it's all good. It's all good.
When you go out to the page, make sure that you go out there and check all the quick licks. And that's from our good buddy up north.
Jason Seditas.
Yeah.
That's right.
And go out there, check that out. All his stuff is out there. And, whether you get little snippets or not, you can learn something from that stuff. And definitely go check out his YouTube page because he is just a great guy and really helped us out a lot.
Absolutely.
With all of our stuff. And what are you going to do, right?
And check out his material because he records with some cool people.
Oh, my God, yeah. Like the best drummer in the world.
Right.
Bar none.
Mr. Marco. Yep.
Yeah. It's kind of insane.
Before we start, I just want to give a quick shout out to a good friend of mine and a good friend of East Amplification as well, Mr. Shea Welsh. Because his new release was just signed to a label. So congratulations, Shea, and we look forward to seeing you and whatever band of merry men you put together to perform this in some touring function or other in the near future. So
that is sweet, man.
Congratulations, my buddy. Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
And I know I'm going to see you in the Baltimore area, and we're getting ready to do something between Shay and East, some kind of showcase thing. So looking forward to seeing you, my man, and congratulations and best of luck.
Yeah, man. It'll be Sheest.
Sheest.
It'll be the Sheest show.
I like it.
Just don't say it fast.
The Sheest tour. Right, the Sheest. Yeah, don't say that fast.
Yeah, you can't. You can't say it fast. It's impossible. So I wanted to, we haven't done any product reviews in some time, and I have purchased 2 in the past week.
Do tell.
That I want to share with our listeners. This is all for guitar. Well, it can be for guitar and vocals. Well, the one can be okay. Let me just start over. So the one piece is a Focusrite 2i4. That is a preamp that has 4 inputs on the front. It's 1/4 inch and XLR combination, right? And then on the back, it's got the send and returns for RCA, so you can run it like into a mixing board. And then it's got outs for powered monitors, really good quality studio powered monitors. And then it's got a MIDI in and through, right? MIDI in and out, in and out. This device is unreal.
Does it have USB?
It's USB
Okay.
powered. It's got 48 volts phantom power, standard stuff. It's got line in and mic in, or instrument and line, right? Or mic, sorry. Instrument and mic switches on the front. It's got the phantom power. It's got a mix knob on there, so you can blend the playback and what you're saying at the same time. So if you put it like, at noon, you're getting the combination. Right? Cool. And then it's got a monitor volume, and it's got a headphone volume. And this thing has it's a great piece of gear. It records at the high bit rates, and it's a second generation. And, I jumped on this thing, and I'm going to use this a lot.
Yeah, because Focusrite's been out. It's a well-known name, and definitely been out for a while. And they made a 2-input unit for a while, and then they also had larger ones. I don't know if did the first generation have a 4-input version as well. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. They got new ones that are rack mounted that are 16. You can go crazy.
And there's a lot of units out there that do this.
Oh yeah.
Some companies don't make a 4. They make a 2, and then they make like an 8 or 16 or whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't make a 4, but the one thing that Focusrite's known for is its preamps.
Yes, and let me tell you, this preamp is pretty tight, and it records. It's a very noticeable difference from what I had, which was an old Fast Track, to this. It's like night and day. And the ease of use. It plugs in. It came with a Pro Tools version called Pro Tools First, which is like the free version that you can get out there. It's limited. The VST plugins don't work outside of what they give you. You have to go to the full blown version. But they give you a copy of Ableton Live too, which is another good final mixing software. So
nice.
Yeah, and I was really surprised by what I got for $169. Because
technology's crazy nowadays.
Oh, it's insane, and now with USB 3 coming out, because Macintosh is pushing that pretty hard. God only knows what this next generation is going to be like, because the throughput in that is just insane. But to change gears a little bit, I was like, well, this is nice, and this is set up for when I do, when we do our Skype sessions between me and you, and my son is, doing the recording audio engineering thing. So I said, I'm going to make this one room, going to kind of make it like a mixing room type thing.
Cool.
So I did that, but I was like, I don't want to have to come in here and plug my guitar in and, kind of sit in front of this big monitor and all the time. I wanted something that was a little bit more portable. So I went and bought the Apogee Jam 96K. Now, this is a non-battery operated, powered by the computer, little stick that you plug your 1/4 inch jack into, right? And out of the back of it is a proprietary cable that either goes to Lightning port on your iPhone or iPad, or a USB port on your Mac, right? Or your PC, I think. I think it does both, yeah. holy crap. I should have bought one of these things years ago because the GarageBand software, it's okay. It isn't great. But Amplitude, they have a free version, and they have all the way up to it looks like a $60 version for your phone and for iPad. Jeff, I got to tell you, man, I plugged into this thing, and I went to it gives you the option to go to your iTunes, and you pull it up, and then you pump in the song, and then you play it, and you can mix it and record yourself at the exact same time, 2 different tracks.
Wow.
It's unreal. And then with Guitar Rig software, I have it on my laptop. I just switch over to the USB proprietary plug that they have, plug it in there, and I'm in. And I'm like, oh my God, this thing records so clean. It is insane. It is a very high-end preamp inside this thing.
Wow.
Now, some of our listeners may say, get the Amplitude version of this. Now, Amplitude is another kind. They're made by IK Multimedia. They make a hardware device that is, I would say, the rival of the Apogee. Now, I don't record vocals, and if I did, I have this little studio here. Mm-hmm. But this thing will take a XLR, it will take a guitar, and it will also take a MIDI device.
Wow.
Right? But it needs a 9-volt battery, and I didn't want to get into that. I just want something that I throw in a guitar case, and I got the 2 little cables, and then I can go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as I got my iPhone, an iPad, or my Mac, I've got a plethora of amplifiers. I can mix, I can practice, and it's nice. I mean, you're stone quiet. You got your little headphones on, and you got all your stuff in front of you. Now, yeah, it's modeled. Is it recordable quality-wise? It's scratch recordable quality-wise, I would say. And it's just the ease of use and the idea that, you can pretty much set the thing up anywhere at any time and not disturb anybody, And that, for me, is godsend, because in my house I have 4 other people. And they go to bed at all weird times, and I just don't like to have to tiptoe around. And, I don't really get to fire up my amp too much.
Yeah, but I mean, it's also good for people that are, especially musicians that are on the road. The smaller and more convenient things get, the more they're able to spontaneously create, which is important. And I think that's where technology really shines nowadays.
Yeah, the Amplitude software, I could go into this. I won't. You just got to go out and check it out. But the stuff that they give you for your iPhone, okay? Now, this is not for your computer. This is for your iPhone.
Yeah.
It has a speed trainer. It has a tempo adjust, which means it'll drop the pitch, it'll drop the speed, but not the pitch.
Mm-hmm.
It's unreal. It will record up to 8 tracks. It has a looper built in. I mean, wow. I'm like, I haven't even touched on this thing, what I can do in it, and that's the free version. When you buy the $60 version, you're getting like Fender amplifiers and Orange amplifiers and, of course, Marshalls, but then you're getting a plethora of pedals, and you can route them all kinds of wild ways, and it's like unreal what you can do, man. I'm like, this is my freaking iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't like some honking laptop or a desktop that I got to carry. No,
right.
This thing is the thing that I can get a phone call on.
Right.
So, that was $29 for the Apogee device.
Wow.
And then, of course, the app costs a certain bit, but they make an Apogee Jam that's $24K, and I heard it's good, but I just said, you know what, for the extra $30, why not?
Sure.
And it was basically for the cables. It's a proprietary cable. I love how these companies do this, because they could easily have stuck a USB into the back of their device, but it's a proprietary plug. Yeah, they do that. Even Amplitude, they do that too. So I was like, oh, so you're not getting away from that.
Right.
And those cables are like $30 a piece,
exactly.
So, so for the guys that are out there, if you're looking for something that's quick and dirty and will give you really high quality sound in your little earbuds or even a nice set of headphones, I highly recommend it. Don't get one of the ones that plug into the earphone jack. You want something that plugs into the Lightning port, or if you have an Android, into your USB port. Those are going to give you that studio kind of quality. And even though you're going, well, it's just scratch, it really does make a difference.
Cool.
You're playing. If you hear something and you can dial some of these amps in pretty close to what you want to hear, and you got it rocking. You got to crank it in your headphones.
Mm-hmm.
It's passable. It's very passable for learning a song, or just putting down a scratch track. So that way you can hand it off to your guys, and they won't go, "What the hell are you playing?" Because it's not analog
like this.
Yeah, it's not analog. There's a digital converter there, so it gets it over to the software. Unlike when you go in through the headphone port, you're just putting a microphone in there, and then the iPhone has to do all the conversion, and then it gets sloppy. It gets nasty. So,
yeah, that's true.
That's it. I know it was a little bit lengthy, but I jumped into that, and I was like, you know what? That is very noteworthy, and I recommend it for everybody.
Well, that's very cool, and maybe someday I'll grab something like that and take advantage of it, because more and more occasionally some ideas are popping into my head. So I may need to be in a position to instantaneously record something. So I'll keep that in mind. I'll keep that in mind.
It's so quick, Jeff, that it's like it takes longer to grab the guitar. You know what I mean? Because plugging up the device,
right?
Yeah, plugging up the device. It's a cable in the phone, cable in the device, your guitar cable into the guitar, your headphones. Fire up the app, and you're going.
That's cool.
You're talking less than 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Your amp won't warm up before then.
Right. It's pretty cool. Let you play one of them solid state things.
Yeah, and then of course, if you got the amp on, it's like 2 a.m, and somebody slaps you on the shoulder and goes, "Hey, what the hell are you doing?"
Right. We all got to get up in the morning. Well, yeah, I mean, and that's so much technology is out there now, and how you can play like virtually online with other people, and
it's insane, man.
And send them tracks, and they can re-record them and send them back. The technology is insane, and I know our upcoming guest today is no stranger to all that, because he's he's kind of one of the kings of online bass lessons.
If you haven't saw this guy, you got to check him out.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. He's really cool, and we during the interview we touched on some musical aspect of the church that had brought out some unique players like Robert Randolph, and he was actually involved in the same type of church environment, and we learned a new term. I didn't know what it was called, but the string of churches that like Robert Randolph and all these other steel players come out of, because he's not the only one. He's the most famous one, but he's not the only one. It's called Sacred Steel, and he came up in that environment as well. And they're just monster players come out of this, and he just happens to be a bass player that has come out of this environment, and now he's doing a lot of online teaching, and he's just a monster player. So we're gonna take a quick break, a pause for the cause, and we're gonna come back with our guest of the week, Mr. Daric Bennett.
Hello, I'm Andy Martoncelli from Artemis, and you're listening to Amps and Axes. Rock on!
Okay, and we are back as promised with our guest of the week, Mr. Daric Bennett. Daric, how are you? How are you?
I'm good. How you guys?
Doing great, man. Doing great.
So here's how I discovered Daric.
Okay, do tell.
So I was I go through Instagram. Mm-hmm. I keep a lock on our Instagram feed. So I'm going through one day, and every now and then I just go out and I do a search. And because of all the music podcasts or music Instagram accounts that I see, I come across this guy, and I'm like, that guy's got a bass. It looks like he's in front of a camera. So I just bring it up, and I'm like, holy crap, man, check this guy out. I mean, he's like a monster, just tearing it up. And I'm going, okay. And then I look at his views, and I go, we got to get this guy on the show, because this is crazy. And then I started following him.
Okay.
Right? And Daric, you do some of the craziest stuff I've ever seen online.
Oh,
you
man,
got like 4
that,
people. He's got like 4 people doing something. I'm like, how in the world are you doing this? And he is just blazing on this bass. And I'm like, well, now we got to talk to him.
And it's one of those newfangled basses that has more than 4 strings on it.
Oh yeah, you know our good buddy, exactly. Our good buddy Kevin Brubaker probably has a bass that he could build for Daric.
Oh,
know?
absolutely,
yeah, man.
Absolutely. He builds it just like that.
Yes, he does.
Has been for decades.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So Daric, A, thanks for coming on with us, and B, I'm going to do what I do with a lot of our guests because most of our guests probably are like me and don't know a whole lot about you. So we're going to take a trip in the Wayback Machine and find out when and where Mr. Daric Bennett was born and raised and what got you into music.
Okay, good question. I am originally from Middletown, Connecticut. I was born there. Wasn't there for long. We moved to upstate New York shortly after I was born. So I've been here most of my life. And I come from a musical family. My father plays the pedal steel guitar. So he was playing a lot of country, playing a lot of country bands and a lot of bluegrass stuff. And he was just real heavy on that kind of, that down south deep blues almost too as well, which is kind of, strange for pedal steel guitar player to be into that kind of thing. But he played a little bit of everything. My mother sings. My sister does. She was in musicals and plays and stuff like that all throughout school. And we were always the band. And my brother plays drums, is an accomplished drummer and amazing producer. So I just come from a musical family. So it was just kind of fell right into it. Just listening to the records and the cassettes back then that my father was listening to. So I was naturally just into music. So
very cool. Now, I mean, you don't hear of too many pedal steel players, but I mean,
Robert Randolph.
I was going to say one of the most popular now, that had come out years ago is Robert Randolph, and he was doing that in church. And
with his entire family,
with his family, right? And it's kind of like, you think church, you think organ, but there's this whole genre of pedal steel players. There's another guy locally around here who's the same way, that started out playing in church. Was it like that for you at all? Is that where your dad was playing?
You guys mentioned Robert. I know Robert very well. We come from the same church organization.
Well, there you go.
We used to. When Robert started playing a pedal steel guitar, he would learn, because I play in a band called the Campbell Brothers, and the Campbell Brothers are a heavy sacred steel band, and they started off in the church. And Robert, actually, one of his mentors is one of the guys that plays pedal steel in the band, Chuck Campbell, and also my father as well, Lonnie Bennett, and he would learn from him. I remember Robert coming over to our house and just kind of jamming out for the whole night. So it's funny that you guys said that. So I grew up in the same type of organization. We all call each other family. There's a couple of guys out there that's that you don't really know too much about, and that, like, the sacred steel form of style music is not really well known, but it's very different. And I think people gravitate towards that once we started going outside of the church and playing the music for everybody else to hear, because we were kind of sheltered. In the beginning, we weren't really allowed to go outside of the church and play anything. It was considered almost a sin to do that. But once we started going outside and playing, and everybody started hearing our music, and we, telling a positive message, we couldn't. they didn't want enough of it, So. So it was so, like I said, it was funny that you guys mentioned Robert Randolph, and I come from that same upbringing with his band, and also I'm in a sacred steel band as well that I travel with, currently. So.
Wow, that is pretty cool.
That
is a term that I had not heard before, sacred steel.
Yeah,
sacred steel.
And I remember the first time that I saw Robert was at Crossroads Festival.
Okay.
And I was like,
"Oh yeah,
that's a distortion pedal and a wah-wah on a lap steel." And I'm going,
pedal steel.
Pedal steel. I'm sorry. Yes, I saw him with a lap steel at NAMM just the other day.
Oh yeah. I saw that.
And I'm going, huh? And I was like, that is the craziest tone you've ever heard.
It's crazy. It's almost mimicking the human voice, the style of it. Like you say, you call it sacred steel. They used to, we didn't have organs or keyboards and that kind of thing. In church, there was the pedal steel guitar that was the main leader of the band. So they would mimic the voices of the church, or even like I know more so Daric Trucks. He does the same exact thing, try to mimic that voice, playing a slide guitar the same way. He was learning from one of the guys that grew up in the church too as well, Aubrey Gent, and he has some of the same style. If you listen to Daric Trucks pretty closely, he has that very soulful, moaning type of sound. It's just, like I said, it's just a crazy genre, really, almost a new genre that nobody kind of discovered that's kind of fairly new.
But
it's just amazing to be a part of that and grow up with that.
I had never. I mean, I absolutely love Daric, and I actually like his more world music almost more than like the stuff he does with the Allman Brothers or the Daric Trucks Band. I kind of really like that. I never really thought about his playing in that way, but now it makes total sense.
And he has that thing, man, where he hits that semitone and then pulls it in. And it's like he's an alien.
Well, his intonation is perfect too.
Oh my God!
I found out how he does that. But it's very hard. It's really, really hard.
It's tough. Yeah. It's tough to do that, especially when you're using a metal bar or a glass bar to get that kind of intonation and that kind of precision out of something that's just rolling around the fretboard. It's amazing the control these guys have playing slide guitar or even pedal steel or lap steel.
Yeah, we'll get back in a second, but the first time that I had seen Robert Randolph was at the Stone Pony in Jersey.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And he, little stage, and it was great. He was, tearing it up, and I'm 10 feet away from the guy, and he starts to go into some Hendrix.
Oh, yeah.
I swear to you, man, it was spiritual. No lie.
Wow.
It was like, oh my God! It's like he's channeling. It was so good.
I can tell you this, and I know we're talking to Daric here, but if you get a chance, you gotta see it live, because that band is unreal, and then to watch him, it's like, how in the world is somebody doing this with a pedal steel guitar? it's just amazing to me.
He's got a video out there, and we have to get back to the interview, but he's got a video out there. I don't remember what the song was for. It was years ago.
Yeah.
He was actually playing Buddha for a while, and he's got what we call the Buddha White Knight in the video. It's I think it's a 4x12 and either a 45 or an 80 head or something, all in white. It's really, really pretty looking.
That had to be like very loud.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
But
extremely.
Yeah, but Daric, anyway, so you're you come from a musical family, and you playing I guess in the church, and then got outside the church. How did the rest of your career move forward? Like, once you got out, what did you find happening to you that was the next cool thing for you?
Good question. I was fairly young playing bass in church, and I started maybe around 10 years old. So, that's definitely pretty young. Mm-hmm. So I was about 10 years old, just kind of backing up my father, and and my brother would play drums. And around maybe 14, 15, I kind of ventured outside. I always had a love for other music and other genres. And, like I said, my father would listen to all these different styles of music. Jazz, bluegrass, blues, everything you can think of. Old school quartet music, everything. So I naturally had I wanted to figure out how I could play these things, play these different genres. And I wasn't really too into bass. I was just doing it because, I'm filling in for the band, like we need a bass player, that kind of thing. So I just kind of picked it up, and, after that I kind of ran with it. And I started studying in school. Throughout school, I was always heavily involved with anything musical in school. In high school, and I majored. I went to a performing arts school, and I majored in music, and actually played the baritone throughout high school, and eventually went on to play the electric bass and the jazz combo. And so I love studying classical and jazz and, like I said, everything else. But I never heard bass players approach it the way that I was hearing it. So I would, kind of experiment, when I was playing in a jazz band or anything like that, or the combo or anything like in school. I would, kind of mimic what the guitar player was playing. I would mimic what the saxophone was playing. I would mimic what the trumpet was playing. I would play the chords of what the guitar player was playing or what the keyboard player was playing. So I was really very, I was experimenting a lot throughout school.
Wow.
And I kind of developed my own sound. I didn't really listen to a lot of bass players. I listened to a lot of other instruments. Like I said, the steel guitar was one of them, one of my main influences in the beginning, because that's what I grew up around. But, eventually I got into Jocko and, of course, and Otil Burbage and, Victor Wooten and those kind of guys like that. But I studied that throughout high school and throughout college. That was my major as well. And since then, I've just been kind of studying on my own and giving lessons now, and it's like it's history from there, I guess.
That's that. I mean, it's probably best that you didn't pay attention to most bass players, because it might have jaded you. It might not have allowed you to be where you are right now with your unique style.
And what's interesting is that through the tons of videos that he puts out on Instagram, there's some things, and now that you said that, it makes sense, because I was like, he's doing these voicings like George Benson would do, right? So with his bass, and I'm like, I've never heard that. I've never heard anybody do that, and he's doing it.
People kind of stray away from. I tell my students all the time. People tend to stray away from playing chords on bass most of the time because they don't know how. But if you do it in the right light, it can definitely sound great and amazing. I love the tone of the bass, and I always experimented with everything, like I said before, and even up to wanted to play a 6-string so I can play more chord voicings, and a 7. I even had a 7-string for a while because I just wanted to play more voicings. But I love the way it sounded, the tone sounded on bass, and I experimented with different inversions and different ways to play different songs using the lower register of the bass, and what sounded good, what didn't sound good. So it was a lot of trial and error, but like I said, I didn't listen to a lot of bass players, and I think that really contributes to the way that I play now. I don't think like a traditional bass player. I know most people are stuck in that one way of playing bass, but I really think you should expand, you should expand your knowledge as far as music and theory and, just different genres. Like you said on my Instagram account or my Instagram page, I try not to do the same genre all the time. I try to do, one day I'm doing a jazz standard, a John Coltrane piece. One day I'm doing hip hop. One day I'm doing a gospel piece.
That's cool.
The next time I'm doing a hip hop, song or something like that. So, I try to stay very open to different genres and keeping my mind open as well.
Yeah, that's really cool. You mentioned 5-string and 6-string and 7-string. I imagine you were referring to basses. How big have you gotten? How many? How far did you go?
I went up to a 7-string bass.
Oh, that's all. Okay.
Yeah, that was it. Just a 7-string bass. That's usually commercially how you can find them as high as they're going to go. And after that, you kind of going into a custom shop grade of a bass. So I saw this one 7-string just kind of hanging up. I might have been 17, 18 at the time, and I just wanted it because it had high C and high F. So I didn't want to play actual, rhythm guitar because it was too small. It felt like it was too small for me. So I wanted to figure out some of these voicings, higher register and a higher sound, higher pitch on bass. That didn't last too long. Just because touring with that 7-string monster of a bass is definitely tough on your back. So I kind of gave that up and went back down to a 5. So that's where I'm at now.
Wow. Okay.
Now, in some of your early stuff, when you were, playing in church and all, what were you using then?
I started off, it was a funny story. My father, when I was like 9 or 10 years old, he gave me, I can't even remember how much it was. It might have been $80, $100. And I said, go into a music store and said, tell them this is all you have and get me what you got as far as for a bass. So I'm 9 years old walking into a music store by myself with maybe $100, maybe $80, $100 in my pocket. So tell the guy, this is all I got. Give me whatever bass you have for this price point. So he comes out with a Steinberger. I don't know if you guys know what Steinberger looks like.
Well, there's a home
the
run.
Headstock kind of cut off. So I'm having, I'm in church and I have this, rocker type of bass. So, man, it was hilarious. But that was the first bass I started on. And it was 4-string from there. I didn't get into 5 until maybe I was 14, 15 years old. Then I started experimenting with, all the other crazy number of strings of basses out there.
I mean, well, that's not a bad purchase.
No,
right
I mean, not only is like where do you find a Steinberger for $80 or $100?
Exactly.
Number one, and number two, I mean, you're a kid. What a perfect fit.
Yeah.
What a perfect fit. It's a small body, no headstock.
Of course. Yeah.
That is so
cool.
cool.
They came out with that Steinberger, man. It was,
wow.
I can't even really remember playing it. It was so weird. It was so weird to me to play. But, I kind of fiddled around with it. It was kind of sitting on the side of the room for some time. I didn't really, want to. I just, after a while when I picked it up, I couldn't put it back down,
You still have it?
I don't. I wish I did. I wish I did have it, man. That was ages ago, man. But I was the kind of kid that wanted to do everything myself. So I was trading my bass in. I want this bass. I would trade that bass in. I want this bass. I would trade another bass in. So I never was one to like collect basses. I was always trading them out. Even now to this day, I don't really have a lot of basses. I just, kind of, switching in and out, and whatever I see, I try to go get. So.
That's cool.
Now you mentioned touring with the 7-string. What kind of touring were you doing at that point?
I was actually touring with another Sacred Steel band, the Lee Boys from Florida. I was actually subbing for them. They're a pretty close family too.
What was the name of the band?
Organization that we grew up in. It was just different areas around the U.S., but it's the same church organization though. So that's why I was one of the first, picks that they called to actually come on the tour. Wow. And they would play at the time. They were real jam, like a jam band really. So we would play hours and hours, in the middle of the night, in first thing 3-4 o'clock in the morning. So we would be standing for so long in that bass. Like I said, I was 17 at the time. So, I mean, I wasn't that, I wasn't a huge guy, so a 7-string bass just kind of weighing on my back, night after night, just kind of got tiring. So yeah, that's how I got into that touring when I was about 17 with a 7-string. Would never do that again.
in a Sacred Steel jam band.
Yeah, I tell you what, man.
Wow, man.
That's crazy.
And what was the name of the band again?
Yeah.
What was the name of the band again?
The Lee Boys.
The Lead Boys.
The Lee Boys from Florida.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, our Skype is kind of
the Skype's glitching out a little bit, so sorry if
we have
to. Oh, okay, yeah, no problem.
But that's man, 17 with that big 7-string. No wonder.
Yeah.
And what's the scale on that? 35, 37?
Yeah, I think it might have been a 36.
That is brutal, man.
If I'm not mistaken.
You know what?
Holding
the bass, and I'm not, I'm not a small guy, but I'm not, I'm 5'10", right? Mm-hmm. My friend had a 35-inch scale Warwick 4-string.
Okay.
I put that thing on. I felt like I was reaching across the room just to play an F.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like,
definitely.
This is so strange. I mean,
it's way different.
Yeah.
What was your what was the rest of your rig at that point? What kind of amp were you using?
At the time, I was just using whatever the backline was. At the time, I wasn't really heavily into, any companies like that. That's the thing. Growing up in the church that I grew up in, I mean, you kind of played what you had.
Mm-hmm, sure.
So you tried to make whatever you had sound great. So that's why a lot of people are saying that a lot of the tone that I have comes from my fingers, because I would play a very cheap bass or coming through a crappy amp or something like that, and it'll still sound like me. You know, but I had to grow up. I was trained like that. You know, unbeknownst to me, I was, you know, kind of trained up like that, having to work with whatever I had, you know, to still achieve that sound that I wanted. So I kind of, you know, learned the hard way. So at the time, I wasn't really coming out of, you know, it might have been most of the time it was maybe an Ampeg or a Galen Kruger amp that they had for a backline. So that was at the time.
Well, you know, that's you said you came up the hard way. I think it was probably come up the best way, because that really helped you form your sound around not much more than yourself, which is really awesome. There's no crutches there, man. It's you.
And we're firm believers that it all comes from the hands.
Absolutely.
Of course.
So if you're working with equipment that you have to do things with your hands to make it sound the way you want it, then, you know, that's a win-win.
That is total blessing in disguise.
Exactly.
Man. That's a blessing in disguise right there.
You may have been like cringing at the time, but then later on it pays off, you know.
So when I get a good amp, or, you know, now I'm with the company Galen Kruger now, which are great amps, amazing amps, and this never fails me. I'm with them now. When I get a good amp and a good sound, I mean, it's like icing on the cake, you know. Now it's that much easier to play. You know what I mean?
Are you doing a lot of touring still?
We haven't done a lot of touring this year. I mean, we're on and off. We're mostly overseas, and we do a lot of Paris and a lot of France gigs. And we do a lot of almost more of a cultural exchange type of thing, because we're booked at a lot of colleges and you know, throughout the country, and we do that. Like a lot of, probably this month we'll probably pick up a whole lot more. But other than that, we'll do some overseas dates. I know we've done China, Shanghai, and Nanjing, and you know, things like that. We've been in Sweden, we've been in Scotland, we've been Morocco. I mean, it's been pretty crazy. It's a different style, of genre of music, so you're not going to hear it everywhere, but people like it because it's new. You know, it's a new sound for them. It's not new for us, but, you know, it's a new sound for them. Just like the case with Robert. Robert just took it and put a little twist on it as far as a bluesy type of side, going to almost a Hendrix sort of avenue with it. But we kind of stayed to the to the roots of the church, because we're still doing gospel. You know, we're booked at a lot of blues festivals and stuff like that because it sounds like that. But we're singing, we're doing straight gospel, man.
That's cool.
Wow.
And the cool part is when you go over to Europe, you go, I wonder how this gig's going to do, and then you look out and you go, "There's 40,000 people out there."
Exactly. No, you're exactly right. You're exactly
like,
right.
Where did they come from?
Europe's amazing.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, man. Some of those festivals they have, you know, it's nothing for 70,000 people to just take a trek and go.
Yeah. I mean,
I mean, they're more accepting, really. When you go overseas, in a way, you'll see it. It's not that the U.S. is not accepting at all, but they're more likely, like you said, to come out to a show with something like that. You know, headliners like that. So.
Yeah, I think it's just a much wider acceptance, a much broader acceptance of music over there throughout most of the people. Like, I mean, you know, you and I, Mick, of course, I mean, we have our circles, and, you know, they're full of music lovers, and we all love music, and, you know, we love it, we play it, we go see it, you know. But I don't know that it's anywhere near the percentage of people with regard to the whole population over here as it is over there.
Well,
it's like,
you know,
just seems to be a much larger percentage of the population that is into and appreciates music and goes to see it.
Yes,
you know?
and the thing is that, you know, like when you watch, if you go on YouTube and you watch a video where they're in the UK and a guy's speeding down the road, they just pull over and the guy just walks up to the car and there's no guns, there's nothing, you know what I mean? It's just like, get out of the car, and the guy gets out of the car. It's a whole different mindset. You know, here, you know, it's like, well, they had a festival, they burned everything, and 4 people were killed. And it was like, why? Well, it was a Sunday.
Oh wow! Yeah. People had to get out and go to work in the morning. You know,
exactly. But over in Europe, you know, it's like, well, we had 150,000 people. Well, did anybody get hurt? No. Was there any arrests? No. There was no arrests. It's like, what?
You're right.
You know,
you're right.
It's very strange.
It's different. It's a lot. It's a lot different. I've learned a lot through the years. One of my first tours overseas gigs was when I was 17. It was the same year. I want to say I was in Switzerland or Spain. I can't remember. But yeah, I was very young, being kind of being exposed to that, to that side of the world, really. So I guess it was a good thing, and I've been doing that ever since. I'm 28 now. I had to think for a second, sir. Wow. 28 now. So I, been doing it for, quite some time, not that long, but I'm definitely thankful for the exposure that I've gotten, thus far. And now I'm really more focused on teaching.
Okay.
And I've been teaching for about 10 years. Wow. Started at a music store, and right out of school, right out of college, I got out of college and started teaching bass. So that was more of my passion. So I love the tour life. I love playing. I love concerts. I love that. But I love giving the knowledge that I have, that I kind of did more of researching myself, on the music, on the theory side, and trying to, just trial and error, just trying to figure out, what works, what doesn't, and trying to give everybody else that knowledge and that kind of stepping stool that I didn't have, so you can, have that shortcut, because I could have learned a whole lot more, a whole lot quicker, if I had the guidance to do that. So that's what I've been definitely working on nowadays, which has been taking up a lot of my time. So
well, now you are the guidance,
man,
for that.
Yeah.
do you attempt to teach it with a lot of theory intertwined, or is it more you teach more style than theory, or does it depend on the student? It's a little bit of everything. It depends on the student. I like to focus more on the style, because most times now, like you said, you'll come across my Instagram page and I'll play something crazy, or some crazy lick or something like that, and a lot of people want to know what I did. How do I play that? How do you get to that? And I'll show them, some of my students, but I'll show them why I did it. I show them why it works. I'll show them, instead of just giving it to them and just showing them whatever I'm doing, showing how you can create something else yourself, with those tools, same tools, so really the understanding part is big for me, because anybody, you can learn bass. I mean, there's tons of, educational tools, and you got YouTube everywhere. So anybody can learn bass from anywhere, the basics and the technique and all that kind of stuff. But if you want to sound like someone, I think that's more where my students come from. They want to more like sound like me, but instead of sounding like me, I show them how to sound like themselves.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Very nice. Very nice. Because probably a big thing that helps is to maybe show them what you found that doesn't work, because I think that's equally as important. Where you say, you try different voicings and chords and things like that, and probably move this note up or omit this note, kind of, because it just doesn't. When the whole thing is sounded, it doesn't work, and for somebody to show you not only what to do, but what not to do, or why you didn't do that.
That's right.
That helps a whole lot, man. It really does.
Sure.
That's awesome.
And good bass players, man. Yeah. That's,
You'll be employed.
Yes, you will.
That's a running joke with us. It's like, you want to be employed as a musician, play bass.
Yeah,
we've just not enough.
We've talked to some bass players, and it's like, I'm floating between 7 bands right now, and it's like, are you serious? And it's like, oh yeah. I don't really ever stop touring,
right?
And because good bass players, man, it's essential.
Yeah,
and
of course. And especially if you know how to lock with the drummer, if you play well with the drummer, man.
That's one of the most important things, man. Being part of a band, and I've had the advantage because, like I said before, my brother is an amazing drummer, and now he's producing a lot now. But we grew up together, and it's funny. I just posted something on my Instagram page. It was his birthday a couple of days ago, of me and him playing guitar at the same time. We might have been like 3 or 4 years old. So he was playing drums since he was 3, and I've been playing bass since I was 9. So we always had that connection and that lock together. So it's kind of a blessing and a curse, because now when I play with a not so good drummer,
I know what you're saying.
Now it's like, I kind of get a little frustrated, but I have to remember, I was a little bit spoiled because, me and my brother played together all the time.
Yeah. Well, another team that I have always said is just absolutely magical is Gary and Greg Granger.
The Granger brothers. Yeah.
I have never seen a rhythm section like that in my life.
Yeah.
Of course.
There's something about having almost exact DNA.
I mean, it's like a cord goes between their heads, and because I've never
I
seen
really
anything
think it
like
has
that.
something to do with that, man. I really do.
Yeah,
it does. It's the same thing with vocalists. I used to play in a band where the front man and the keyboard player were vocalists and good vocalists, but they were brothers.
Yeah,
and it's like, the harmonies that come out of that, or because their voices are just so together.
What's the name of that band? Los
Lonely Boys?
Yes.
Lonely?
They're all brothers.
Mm-hmm.
They sing, first off, they sing amazing, but they when they play together, it's like, well, they don't even have to look. I mean, they're just, it's like, well, nope, and they're not triplets, but they were very close in age.
Yeah, there's that family connection, man.
Oh, man.
It's something about it. I can definitely attest to that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, sure. Look, I just, it's like, man, I just think about it and I go, God, I wish I had a brother that was a drummer, or what I mean?
That's where you could truly say, it's in the DNA.
Yeah,
good genes.
Well, you go to rock and roll and you look at the Van Halen brothers.
Oh yeah,
right. I mean, Eddie and Alex, they're inseparable, man. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
We touched on you're with GK now as far as amps. Bass. Any bass connection there? What are you playing now?
What I'm playing now is funny. You asked that. I'm actually playing a Fender Squier Jaguar bass, and I tell you why I'm playing that. The reason why I'm playing that that's not my only bass, but I usually use that one a lot. Just more so because just to give people the opportunity to say that you don't have to get the most expensive bass out there. You can play a bass and make it sound good. You can. You know what I mean? So I play that bass in my lessons a lot as well. Just to show my students that you don't have to have a $4,000 or $5,000 bass to be able to play. So I mean that's sometimes it's more discouraging sometimes too. That's why I play a Squier now, because it's a cheaper bass, but it shows people, it gives people that that hope, more so they don't have to buy an expensive bass to be able to sound good, But I actually do have another custom bass on the side. I actually play a Bo Leopard design. It's a guy here in Rochester. He designs them and he makes them, and he makes great basses. But he just does it for a hobby. But the bass that he made for me it just sounds incredible.
Wow.
So that's my
cool.
story as far as bass.
the whole the Squier, not the Squier's part didn't faze me. It's the Squier Jaguar bass.
Jaguar,
which is that's pretty unique, and I think that's something pretty new, because they reissued the Jaguar guitars for a while, but I don't think there was ever a Jaguar bass. I do not think there was a Jaguar bass
as an old production,
right in the '60s. I don't think so. So that's.
I don't know.
That was kind of their addition to the reissuing the Jaguar guitar, which is that's pretty unique, because I don't even know that I've seen one yet.
No, I don't think I've seen one either. And what's cool about that though is that you using that bass that's more affordable. There's another guy out there. He's an English guy, a guitar player, a real metal dude, and we just lost him.
We did.
That is gone.
Yeah.
All right.
He went in the house somewhere.
He went in somewhere.
He went in the house.
And the signal just dropped.
Mm-hmm. So I think he was driving the whole time.
Pardon me.
I think he was driving the whole time.
Yeah, it sounded like he stepped out
went
of the
in
car.
the house, because I heard somebody else in the background.
Yep. And... $20 ringy dingy.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
Yeah, I think I lost you guys.
Yes.
Yeah, you did. You went in a house or something, didn't you? You went inside?
Yeah, I just literally just walked inside. So that's what it was.
Well, what I was going to say is the neat part about you playing the Squier is there's a guy, he's a heavy metal guy out of England that does a lot of online stuff, and his name is Andy James.
Okay.
And
I think I heard it. Yeah,
and he is a monster. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen this guy play the same lick twice.
Wow.
Right?
Really?
But he does it on an LTD ESP guitar,
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm like going, well, there's that tells you.
Oh, for
it
sure.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
It's not what you play, it's how you play it.
Yeah, man.
No.
And it's like the same thing we've always said. You take Stevie Ray Vaughan and you put him on a Fender Squire, it sounds like Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And
exactly.
So, you don't need to be breaking the bank. It's not the bank that you have to break. You have
You're
to
right.
break those fingers.
That's right. Break the fingers. That's it.
You're right.
So,
You're right. I mean, some people aren't as fortunate as others to be able to afford those type of guitars, and I don't want them to be able to think that they have to be able to sound good.
Sure.
So that's why I play what I play, and people ask me, oh, did you gut it out? Did you change the pickups on it? Did you change the bridge out? Or I did nothing.
Really?
Wow.
I did absolutely nothing. So the same bass you see in the Instagram account on some of those videos, that is just a plain
Dead
Squire
stock.
Jaguar bass.
Wow.
That is cool.
Any pedals? I mean, a lot of times you bass guys are into things that guitar players aren't into. So,
Right, exactly. It's funny. I used to kind of experiment with pedals before I was heavily into that, but it was more of a practice thing because I really didn't have a chance to do that on a gig situation with the group that I played with. I'm more so just kind of hanging out in the back and just holding down the bass line in the back. But I was always curious to that kind of stuff. But right now, I'm actually experimenting with some of the Dunlop pedals, the MXR. Series, the bass envelope, the filter, and the the wah. I mean, who doesn't love a good wah? But I used to experiment with that too. Earlier in my playing, I would play the Boss flanger.
Ah,
that was old school, man. That's
the
Boss flanger, man.
The BF2.
So, and of course, I used to love kind of messing around with that too. So, as far as pedals go, I think that's probably as far as I've gone to. I've definitely liked to experiment more, but I just haven't had time to kind of get into it. But definitely take some recommendations, trying to mess with that so I can have some new toys.
A lot of bass players seem to be into compressors in one way or another. Kind of using subtly, but definitely like using them.
That are not.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I can't get into it. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I just can't get into a compressor. I've always had to control my own sound.
Mm-hmm.
So I think more so it's very foreign to me once a compressor comes on, and it's like it's just kind of limiting me to a little bit too much because I can control a lot of my sound and as far as the limiting and the volume and stuff like that. So but I mean, on situations where you do have to use it, I definitely understand why you can use a compressor, why it will be beneficial.
Yeah, it just kind of evens everything out. But evening everything out is cool in one respect. But then, when you want to have some extreme dynamics, you can't.
Right. Exactly.
It's just kind of I don't know. I don't know that it would work very well for like kind of slapping and popping because it just kind of limits the I would say more the attack, the personality, and the attack. Yeah, the more of the attack of the slap, or you don't have that much of an impact, or just that much of a punch as you want. Seems like you're kind of being held back, so so to speak, depending on how you have it set. But just for some reason, I just haven't been a fan of a compressor. But everything else is not for bass. That's just me. That's just my you can't pop the cones out of those speakers like that, man.
Yeah. You got to set it on fire sometimes.
There you go.
You got to make that bass drum get louder.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
Man.
Well, Daric, anything else you want to tell our listeners about? Any upcoming releases or CDs or tours or anything you want them to know about?
More so, just like I said, I'm more so focusing on the new website that I just launched about 4 months ago.
Oh, cool.
It's more of it's like more of an online educational source, basically for bass players. It's more so I call it a Facebook for bass players.
Nice.
So I'm offering lessons on there every single week. It's a subscription, so I'm offering lessons on there every single week and personal advice and guidance and access to me as much as possible whenever. So I'm working on that more. So like I said, it's only 4 months old, but we're gradually growing. I mean, it's the response from it has been amazing, especially since the social media rise. It's definitely taken over.
Oh yeah, man.
And I wasn't one to before this happened. I wasn't one to kind of post what I was doing and post what I was playing. Somebody actually just they just kind of geared me on to hey, why don't you post this? Why don't you post that? I really like your playing. So I finally did it, and it just kind of blew up from there. And especially on Instagram, I went from 1,000 followers to maybe I think 25,000 now. It is.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. But,
Wow.
in less than in a couple months. It's been pretty crazy. So the people like what I'm doing, and I'm trying to show them what I'm doing. And like I said, I want to be that footstool to somebody else that doesn't have that guidance, and like I didn't have. I want to be that person to guide. Other than the website that I have, more so just tour coming up. We're more so focusing on. We're doing the Lincoln Center commissioned the band that I'm playing in to do a cover of a John Coltrane Love Supreme, all four movements. So it's pretty crazy to hear a Sacred Steel band, kind of cover this hardcore jazz stuff in our perspective.
And it's for the Lincoln Center.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty wild. I think it's a YouTube clip on there somewhere. We were at Lincoln Center performing that. So yes, it's a pretty crazy. So we've been doing that at most of the shows and the festivals that we've been playing at as well. So other than that, man, it's just steady working hard.
Keeping the train moving forward, man.
And
that's good.
His website is DaricBennett.com, and it's DARIC Bennett.com.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be on the show and will live in
perpetuity
when it goes into the archives. So definitely check it out.
Yeah, for sure.
And check out his YouTube, his Instagram, all that cool stuff, because let me tell you, man, he puts up some stuff, and I'm like, how did he think of this? Like, where is this coming from?
Yeah.
Because you had one post on there, I think everybody was playing kazoos, right?
It might have been.
and he was doing the bass lines with it or something. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, man, how's he doing that? But it's...
You keep it instructional and fun.
Oh, let me tell you.
There you go. Oh, that's the whole point, man.
He's got a big smile on his face the whole time, too.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You got to have the bass face.
The bass face. There you go. All right, Daric. Well, thank you so very much for taking the time. And, man, much continued success in everything. And, I hope the website just explodes and, the Instagram takes off. And, if you're touring, safe travels, have a wonderful touring season. And, man, all the best to you. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, man.
Hey, same to you guys.
And there you have the story.
What a cool guy.
Yeah, man. It's I really do like that he's bringing to people what he figured out, and what works, what doesn't work, and why, and just another source for information for people that want to play like that.
Exactly, and I think the thing.
And I learned a new term.
I think, yeah, exactly. I think one of the things that's always, that when you go to find a guitar teacher or a teacher of any of this stuff, I always tell people, just because the guy is like the hot shot of the town doesn't mean he can teach.
Absolutely true.
And you kind of got to be like anything else in life. You got to kind of feel them out.
And you got to find what works, what fits.
If it's not working for you, you got to move on real quick. Don't spend your money. And what's cool about what it sounds like with Daric is that he's kind of letting you find yourself. He's showing you things, but he's letting you find out how to do it in your own voice. And that's key, man, because there's so many guys out there that can do whatever, just like whoever.
Right.
But when it comes to their own voice, it's kind of like it's not there, you know.
And I think the whole site that he's putting together with the subscriptions and everything, I'm pretty sure it's a working interactive community.
Yeah, well,
that's
absolutely.
the way he has it set up.
Yeah.
So like players can talk to players.
Yep.
And even if you can't work with Daric at that moment, you might be able to work with another player.
Yep.
Go, hey, I've tried this,
and there's
this
free
doesn't
lessons
work.
on there and everything. So it definitely
check it out.
If you're a bass player, man, check it out.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you, that dude has chops.
And then when you get really good, you have Kevin Brubaker build your bass.
There you go.
There you go. He's built.
He's built. Well, look, you can go back to our episode. And I think it was a 20 string or something like that.
I was going to stop at 12.
12,
but
maybe.
Not. Yeah,
no, it was 12. He said he had built a 20 string for a guy. And we were like, that's
probably doubles.
Yeah, doubles or triples or something.
Well, I mean, even our good friend Dave DeMarco plays a.
He's got something.
I think it's an 11. It's an 11 string.
All I know is I saw it one night and I went, that's like 7 different sets of tuners on there because the headstock would be miles long if it was a regular set.
Yeah.
So it has small tuners, large tuners. They're all kind of
small, mid. Yeah. It's like the Three Bears.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, man. So until next time, my friend.
Of course, because you never know who's going to be next.
That's right. I'm Mick Marcelino.
And I'm Jeff Bober.
And we're always saying
onward.
Be sure and follow the show on Twitter @AmpsandAxes. Also, make sure you like the show on Facebook. For news, comments, and everything else, visit the webpage ampsandaxescast.com. Thanks for listening.